American management consultant Gary Hamel once said, "You can't build an adaptable organization without adaptable people, and individuals change only when they have to or when they want to." TD Canada Trust is one of the big 5 banks of Canada and the oldest bank with branches all around the world. As someone working as a banker for close to 2 years now, I believe I've heard it all when it comes to customer complaints. Often, the most vocal customers are the ones who don't understand modern banking practices. Largely found within the age group of 60 to 80 years old, better known as the baby boomer generation. The boomers possess a unique privilege and tenured relationship with the banking industry, one that is so strong that they have been able to go over a decade willingly without online banking. Part of my role as a teller is to educate customers and make them familiar with online banking in order to save them time and the trip to a bank. With that, I became the punching bag of boomers to say, "Can I speak to your manager?" "Okay, boomer." Meet Zane, my former manager, now small business banking specialist. Like myself, Zane got into banking young and has made strides in his career within a matter of time. Zane first started off as a teller and then moved on to become a financial services representative, managing day-to-day banking operations. Zane rejoined as a manager of customer experience. It was in this role where he would have dealt with the most pressure and experience from the not-so tech-savvy but demanding baby boomers.
These are people that have gone throughout their lives, 20, 30, 40 years, conducting the same way of banking, and then to just throw a shift on them to say, "Okay, go online now." I think that's a little tough to do.
A bit overwhelming, can it?
It's definitely a little bit overwhelming because now you're speaking about 60, 70-year-old people who need to make a change in the way they've been conducting their business and going about their banking for the last 20-odd, 30-odd years, and that's definitely tough.
When COVID-19 was declared a global pandemic, TD Bank conformed to the new era of physical and social distance, which had constricted banking. One thing the banks could not prepare for was the pushback it would receive from the boomers. This issue could no longer be ignored, as it was time for the banks to prepare for a possible future where day-to-day banking would become 100% digitized.
I think pushback is a word that is really nice based on, compared to what I actually felt there.
In the age of a technological revolution, a conflict of interest has come between the banks and the boomers. One side wants to cut overhead costs and increase efficiency, while the other wants to keep things the way they were 40 years ago.
Passbooks.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
When the lockdown was first initiated, TD opted to halt updating Passbooks. Month after month, customers believed that the banks would begin updating the passbook, but that time never came.
What does this mean? This is like sacred banking tradition.
Do we keep this outdated piece of technology where we spend thousands of dollars on, or I don't even know what the number is, but imagine $1 million on a year across all of our branches, where this is something that's available online as an alternative. And yeah, it's tough. It's definitely tough for customers to completely get that cut out from their life, but it has to happen, right?
One thing boomers never understood was the safety risk of passbooks and how they were a liability to the customer and the bank. With passbooks, customers have their full banking history printed, with the account information on the cover, and in some cases, the PIN number written on the inside. This was extremely problematic, as these customers stand a higher risk of misplacing or losing their passbooks.
I like how you brought up the security aspect of it, in the sense that, the security of passbooks is not high.
We would suggest alternative solutions to access month-end statements, such as printing out the statements or offering to set up digital banking, where customers could access the same information for free from the comfort of their home. The boomers did not like this one bit. TD has invested over $1 million into the EasyWeb app and continues to update the service every year. The app is designed to be user-friendly and comprehensible while maintaining industry standard security. Boomers place themselves in a vulnerable position by refusing to follow modern banking practices, such as using a debit card with a secure PIN. Instead, they choose to use their passbook without verifying themselves by PIN authentication.
I've had a lot of problems with customers when it comes to passbooks, especially when it's starting out new in different branches, where customers just present their passbook and be like, I want to take out $6,000. I'm like, great, fantastic. Let me see a piece of ID. And when they do that, they say, how dare you? I've been coming to this branch for longer than you've been alive. I can't believe you would ask me. Ask anyone here, they know me.
These same customers get offended and threaten to cease their relationship with the bank when asked to follow basic security features.
What if you were to drop your passbook outside on the floor and someone like you just picked that up and said, oh my goodness, they have a lot of money in here. Let's go to the bank and take them out because I can probably pass them. And let's say they walk into a different branch. No one knows you there. They can, with your methodology, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, you can get scammed and then you'd blame it on the bank when honestly, it's your fault for writing out all this information and giving it to somebody.
Given that the customer does not expose their own personal banking information, TD can confidently stand by its security policy.
I'd say overall, the strain that it's put on the relationship between customers and banks is significant. But I feel like this is something that people are just going to have to adapt to it, because this is unfortunately the way that I wouldn't even say unfortunately, but this is the way that the bank is moving, and this is the way how the world's moving. Is they're slowly shifting everything online, and customers are going to just come to a point where they don't have a choice, unfortunately, but to go online. But how can, I guess, TD or any company make it easy for customers to use online? That's what the bank has to figure out, and that's what companies have to figure out.
What does a solution even begin to look like in such a debacle? If security is a concern, then TD should look to shift their marketing focus to promoting how secure the web banking experience can be. They need to change the notion in boomers that web banking does not compromise the security of their assets or information, but instead prevents them from becoming victims of fraud or impersonation by following old-school banking practices. These traditional banking practices have many flaws and are outdated, and so TD must direct their resources towards creating a more personalized experience which customers seek, where they can feel confident asking quote-unquote stupid questions. If it's important to you, you'll make the time. If not, you'll make an excuse. If banking is such an essential service for customers, why are they unwilling to learn a more efficient system? With the correct guidance and support, along with genuine interest to learn from boomers, I believe this cohort can integrate themselves to modern banking practices in order to save time and help flatten the curve.
Let's stay together, loving you.